Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone. Welcome to the 7th at-large capacity building webinar on the topic Virtual Camera Workshop, taking place on Thursday, 1st of October 2020 at 1300 UTC. We will not be doing a roll call as it's a webinar, but attendance will be noted on the wiki page. And if I could please remind all participants on the phone bridge as well as computers to please mute your lines when not speaking to prevent any background noise. And also to please state your name when taking the floor, not only for the transcription purposes, but also to allow accurate interpretation. We have Spanish and French interpretation on today's webinar, and our interpreters are Claudia and Paula on the Spanish channel, and Claire and Jacques on the French channel. And thank you all for joining today's webinar. And now I would like to leave the floor over to Jonathan Zook. Over to you, Jonathan. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Yesem, and thanks everyone for coming on board for the workshop. Some of you at least were on the webinar we did on giving better presentations online. And a big part of my pitch in that webinar is that people should spend more time on their faces than they do on their slides. In other words, switch to the slides just when there's something specific that you want to show, a particular visual, a punchline to a joke in a sense that you're telling, or a quote you want to show. It should be definitely a kind of an accessory to your presentation and not the fundamental basis of the presentation. Because our ability to communicate using facial gestures, etc., and for people to trust what we say is a big function of being able to see our face. And the other issue is that if there are people that are hearing impaired, then they have a better chance of reading lips, etc., if they're able to see the camera feed. So the idea is use your camera feed as much as you can. And so what you might do then in your presentation, and what I did in my presentation, is switch back and forth from sharing my screen to not sharing my screen in order to accomplish that. Because what I wanted to demonstrate is how you might do that purely in Zoom. Unfortunately, Zoom doesn't have a feature built in to allow you to rapidly switch back and forth between your slides and your video. And so I had to share and unshare in order to make that switch. And it worked okay, but it's not quite as fluid. And every time you reshare, you have to choose which window you're sharing again and things like that, which is a little bit inconvenient. And so at the end of the presentation, I gave a very brief demonstration of what's known as virtual camera software. And virtual camera software is software that lets you build up a scene, including your video feed and things that you want to overlay on top of it, and then presents itself to Zoom as if it's another camera, so that you have a lot more control about what's going on over your camera. So if I was just giving a presentation right now and I wanted to switch to the slides, I could do this, and you'll see that the slides very quickly came up as part of my camera feed. I didn't share my screen or anything, it just changed my camera feed. I can also do some combination of something where I have them up here on the screen as just part of what I'm doing. And again, these are active slides here. This isn't an image, it's actually like a screen share, but it's just sharing the window on top of my video feed. I can also reverse the two so that I have my slides big and I'm in a camera down below. And then when you want to get really fancy, you could in fact build out a set of things using, whoops, it's another interesting problem where your screen is reversed. But you can do things like use a PNG image and either create a brand for your camera so that you can always see what conference you're at or something like that. But if you wanted to, this could easily be a graph that took up the whole screen that you were pointing out things on. It could be a lower third if you're trying to run a conference or something like that. So these are the kinds of things that you can do with a virtual camera software is basically build up your video feed in a series of layers and then make that your presentation over your camera. So at this point, I have not yet shared my screen. I'm literally just showing these things over my video feed. So there is commercial software and there's free software for this. And so the commercial software that I use most often and I recommend is something called ManyCam. And so if it's something you're going to be doing a lot of, then having the support of a company behind it and everything like that can sometimes give you a little bit more feeling of security. But the software we chose to use today for demonstration purposes is something called SplitCam, because it's available for free for both Mac and Windows, and it doesn't have all the functionality that ManyCam does, which includes things like chroma key and things like that to create even more sophisticated scenes. It has a lot of functionality and more functionality than we're going to even talk about. And it's free. And so far, I have found the authors of the program to be very responsive. So when I've had problems, they give their Skype address. You can reach out on Skype and they respond fairly quickly and to look into what it is, whatever trouble it is that you're having. So it's not perfect. It's not as powerful as ManyCam. It hasn't been around as long as ManyCam has been, but it's free and it's a great way to start out. So then at any time I can just switch back and I'm back at my camera, and I've done all of that without sharing my screen. It's all coming over my video feed. So I don't even need to be a host in order to have a more sophisticated presentation on my screen. Are there any questions about the concept? Should I be looking for anything in the, I'm not really reading the chat, but if anybody has a question, I'm happy to, you can raise your hand and I can answer them. This is all making sense so far to everyone? Okay, excellent. So what I'm going to do now is share my screen and just sort of show you what the interface to this software looks like. So it looks like Alberto is in the waiting room, Yasim, I guess. I'm going to share my screen, show you what the software looks like and sort of the theory behind it. And then I'm hoping that each of you can experiment with it, since we can see all of your camera feeds and you can start putting things into your camera feed in order to see how it works. Oh, I guess the other thing I should mention, and I guess this requires a screen share as well. So Yasim, if you can give me the ability to share my screen, do I have it now?
Yes, you do.
Thanks. I need to make the window bigger here so that I see that button.
I thought that you didn't know, you didn't have to share your screen.
Yeah, I have to share. Well, I don't technically. I could in fact share my screen through SplitCam if I wanted to. That's definitely the case. If I share my screen now and I go to Zoom, I'm hoping. Let's see, where is it? Oh, I should be able to share the Zoom app itself, but I'm not seeing it. Yeah, I don't know the answer to why I'm not seeing Zoom as one of my options for sharing. But let's see if I can do that in SplitCam. I'm going to get rid of the scene that has the ManyCam ad in it. I'm going to create a new camera. I'm going to add a layer, and then I'm going to share a window. And then let's see if Zoom is one of my options. All right, so there you go. Now I'm sharing my Zoom screen, and we're all looking at Eduardo, right? I'm sharing my Zoom screen as my video. So if I then come into this, what I wanted to show you before I got too much further is that down here where you start and stop video, there's a little arrow. Hopefully everybody sees that. If you click on that, you can see all the cameras that are available to you You can see I've been playing around with a lot of different stuff. The cameras that are available to you. So my actual webcam is this Logitech Brio, but the one that I have selected as my camera is the split cam video driver. So that's the option that you're going to want to choose in order to put the split cam output out through Zoom. And there are some instances, I'll warn you up front, that once Zoom has grabbed your camera, it doesn't want to give it up even if you stop sharing. But if you change the camera to something else and then go into split cam, then it should be able to see your camera. If it doesn't, you might need to get out of Zoom and back in after running split cam. So the order that I did things was to get things up and going in split cam first, and then ran Zoom, choosing split cam as my camera. Hopefully that makes sense. So that's how I'm making it available here in Zoom. Another feature that I guess I can show you quickly. Satish, I guess, is not in here, right? Or is he?
I'm here.
You good? Okay, good. One of the things I wanted to show you, one of the things I discovered is that I have not found software like this for Linux yet. There is a virtual camera package that's called Webcam Noid, which allows you to like apply filters to the camera. So it's the same technology. It's getting in between your camera and Zoom and allows you to do things like add a posterize effect or make it black and white or something like that. But as far as I know, they've not yet added the feature to composite things on top of your picture, which is one of the things that we're trying to do. It would be very easy to add now that they've done the hard work of creating a virtual camera. But at this point, I have not found a Linux-based solution. But what I mentioned to Satish is there is a new, when you go to share your screen, if you go to advanced, there's some new features. One of them is content from a second camera, and one of them is a portion of a screen, which is a very powerful thing because sometimes you don't want to always share the whole window or a whole screen, but just a part of it. So that's a new feature. But this other new feature here is called PowerPoint as a virtual background. And when you choose that, it's going to ask you for your, let's see if I can. Here's the presentation webinar. It's going to ask you to load up your PowerPoint. And so what you'll see here is that the PowerPoint itself is actually presented as part of your screen share. So it's reading the actual file, and it'll allow you to do things like have video going on at the same time as your PowerPoint presentation. So you can merge it or you can split it, etc., in order to show both at once. And so that's a cool feature that they've added to Zoom. It's just in beta, but it does allow you to have your camera and your PowerPoint showing at the same time. And it gives you a way to go through your PowerPoint from within Zoom. So it's showing up as your virtual background, basically, right? The difficulty with this, though, is that the PowerPoint slides become static when they come in through Zoom. So they've not yet implemented all of the build slide features and animations and things like that that you may have as part of your slides. They all become static, which we're sort of used to because when you make them into PDFs, they become static too. But that's just a feature that I wanted to show you as a way to dip your toe in this pool, so to speak. But it's not what we're going to be trying to share generally. What we're going to do instead is go back to basic and share split cam. So let's see. So many things running at once here. Hang on a second.
You know, that button that says go live, it doesn't go live in mine. The regional
Oh,
one?
so go live is something is another functionality. It's not it's not for this purpose. That's if you want to use this for streaming out to Facebook Live or YouTube Live or LinkedIn Live or something like that. That's another feature of the what am I trying to say? Another feature
Okay.
of SplitCam is the ability to stream also, right? And so you can build up these scenes and then stream directly out to things that have a stream key and a password. So that's another functionality, but it's not what we're talking about today. Hope that makes sense. All right, now I'm trying to figure out what. So, are you seeing? You're seeing this split cam right now, right? On your screens.
Yes,
okay,
we are.
good. So, you'll see here along the left-hand side is where I've set up these different scenes. So this first one is just my camera, right? That's scene one. And then over to the right, you can see the layers that I've created for that particular scene. And then when I click on the next scene, you're now looking at the PowerPoints, and you can see there that the layer in this case is a window share, which I'll show you in a second. If I go to this third one, it has two things. It has on the bottom my webcam feed, and on the top the PowerPoint slide, which I have the ability to come into and move around, reposition, make larger, smaller, etc. as I'm building out these different scenes.
So Jonathan, I'm sorry.
Yeah, please go ahead.
You need to have all these layers opened as applications, right? In order
That's
to add
right.
them? Okay.
But some of the layers are windows that you're trying to share, but some of them might not be. So for example, this one that I showed you here, where I had just put the ICANN logo here as a PNG image, that's just an image file that you can open up, right? So you don't need, in that case, to have anything open. But when you want to do a share of a window or a part of a window or something, then that needs to be open on your desktop. So in this case, you can see I did the same thing, just the inverse. So the PowerPoint is on the bottom and the web camera is on the top in terms of these layers. And so that's how you construct these things. So if I start back to this blank one, you see I have just the camera. If I click the plus sign up here, here's all the things I have available to me as things that I can show as layers within my camera. So I can share a web camera, which I'm doing now, an IP camera if you have an IP address to another camera. There's a built-in browser, so you can either share your browser window or this will actually open up a website for you. You can share a screen or share just a window of the screen. You can share a game. And then you also have the ability to share your microphone or your system audio. And that's for a very specific purpose. And that's more often going to be used when you're doing streaming out to Facebook or YouTube. Because what I'm doing in this case is specifying the microphone in Zoom. I'm just using the camera features of SplitCam. But if you want to do streaming out to Facebook or YouTube or something, then you would share your microphone as part of your scene so that the scene picks up on the microphone. And then you also have the ability to share system audio as part of your scene as well if you're trying to play a video or something. So
Jonathan, if I can interrupt you.
Yeah, please, go ahead.
It's Sebastian, and I am sorry I am in a meeting room and there are noise behind me.
No problem.
In the chat, you have people who have trouble to install the system,
okay,
I don't have trouble to install the system, but as soon as I start to play with, it's not going well. Then I am on a Macintosh, and I will be in contact with Split split screen, split
Split
cam,
cam.
sorry, split cam guys who develop that, hopefully. But I want to caution you, you may be losing a lot of people. You know what you are talking about. And I am sure that there are people who are understanding everything you are talking about, but I think what it could be useful, and maybe we are too much people here, but it's to test what they can do. And
Oh no, that's my plan. That's
yeah,
what I
but
want.
don't put too much effort in telling what we can do, because I will have forgotten, and
Okay,
if I don't use it, I will not be able to
sure.
have that in my mind. It's just my advice, nothing else. Do what you want, but
Sure.
it's my feedback. Sorry. Thank you.
All right, I appreciate it. Oh, I had lost the chat when I shared my screen, so I didn't see that. I'm happy to, what I would love is for people to just try this and we'll look at their camera feed. That was where I was gonna go next. So I was just trying to give an overview. So, but thank you for slowing me down, Sebastian. That's probably a good idea. Are there other questions? Because I've not been paying attention to the chat. So
I do have a question. This is Eduardo. I'm using a Mac, but I don't see the split camera as one of my video feeds. So do I have to get out of Zoom, come back in, and?
yeah, probably. You probably have to get.
I had split cam on when I got into Zoom, and I don't see it as one of my.
Well, that
videos.
should have worked.
I'm using a Mac. I don't know if other people that are using Mac.
Yeah, yes, Eduardo, I'm having exactly the same problem. And speaking towards Sebastian's question, I had to go into system preferences to allow split cam to use some of the administrative permissions.
Okay, I will do that. Thank you.
Yeah, you definitely, in order to do things like screen share and things like that, the Mac requires that you give split cam permission to do that. You had to do it with Zoom too, but you've probably forgotten by now.
Yeah, the thing is, Jonathan, that I'm trying to get Zoom. I did it the other way around. I had Zoom already, and then I activated split cam, and I'm able to get a second screen, but I don't seem to be able to get Zoom as one of the separate layers.
Well, so you don't want Zoom as a layer, though. The idea is inside of Zoom, you want to set split cam as your camera.
Okay.
I was only sharing Zoom because I was trying to show it, show the Zoom interface, but you don't need to share Zoom in order to do this feature.
JC, can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes.
Here. I installed the SpringCam a few hours ago and tried to run it, and it came with a message. I typed in the chat saying that my display is 1336 by 6768, which is in the minimum requirement of 1280 times 800. But then I opened on the display features of my laptop, the Windows 10 running laptop, and in the options doesn't give that options. All options that give 1280, it's 600, 720, and 768. It doesn't give 1280 times 800. That option isn't included. So I don't know what to do. The option that the system, that SpringCam tells me to use, is not included in the options of the feature of the display settings of the laptop. So
what happens when you try to run it? Is it too big for your screen, or?
No, it says maybe one size is too big, but the other is too small. But the options that I get on the display option of the laptop, not the software or SpringCam of the laptop, doesn't include that format. It is a
Okay.
bit bigger in the wide, but smaller in the tall part. But
Right.
the software, don't know, I started to run it, and it came with that message.
I feel like you should be able to resize the window and that it should still work. But if it's not working, then send me email and I will get in touch with the split cam guys. And because I told them I was going to be doing this webinar and they were excited about that. So I think they're going to be receptive if we share specific issues that you're having with them. So if you can write a quick email to me, I will, I'll happily pass that on and try to get an answer. I don't know an answer off the top of my head.
Your email is your name, that your last name. What's your, can you put it in the chat? So
yeah, I'll put it in the chat. I'll put it in the chat.
Jonathan, it's Marita. You went so quickly through the section about how to choose your cameras. I missed it.
Oh, no problem. Sorry. So if you are, if you see the button where you turn your camera on and off in Zoom?
Yeah.
So right next to it is a little arrow, up arrow.
Oh, I see it. The split cam video draw. Is that it?
Yep. So I'm going to see if we can log in here too.
Another thing I see is friction again. I think even if we all could install and run a split cam, it's a suggestion. Maybe you have the time or whatever to plan this kind of meeting maybe each month and a half, so that even though we all manage to use a split cam, we can meet every 4 to 6 weeks to exchange a little difference that or problem would encounter, and you can clear that out. But it would be in a more specialized environment. You will feel not dealing with kindergarten people. You will feel that dealing with people who are already tried the tool and had some trouble, and maybe ask more intelligent or more meaningful questions. Maybe.
And I'm happy to do that. So this, we can do this more than once for sure. We just had a request to do it, and so feel free to try things. And if you have troubles, I'm happy to report those troubles. And then you can also download a demo version of, a free version of ManyCam if you want to see how that software works as well. And I recommend that also.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, definitely. So here I am now on my Mac. I don't know if you can see that. I guess I could rename myself, but I've got my Mac open with split cam open as well. So it should work on either of these platforms. If I stop sharing, let's see.
Wish you luck, because my Mac doesn't work.
Jonathan, Vanda here. Can I ask a question?
Of course, please.
My clients use different platforms. So to make a presentation to them, can I use this split cam in any platform, or just by Zoom or some of those YouTube or wherever?
Yes, so split cam or virtual camera software generally works well with other tools as well if they support virtual cameras. Not all of them support virtual cameras. For example, Skype and WebEx right now don't support virtual cameras.
Teams?
But if you use the web interface for Skype and WebEx, Cisco WebEx, it can use the virtual camera. So that's sort of the way around.
Okay.
The other thing that you can do is when you minimize split cam, you'll see that there's like a preview window that still remains on the screen. So if you want to, you can share that preview window in Zoom or whatever software you're using, and you'll get the same functionality. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you. I will share. I will trying to make it work in other platform because I don't choose platform. The client choose.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
So those are the two ways. Either use the web version of the platform if it doesn't support virtual cameras, or just share the preview window of SplitCam, you know, in that other platform. So if you're having a Skype meeting and you do share window, just share the SplitCam window, not the main interface, but when you minimize it, it creates like a preview window. You can share that window, and that's your way that you could use all the same functionality.
Okay, thank you, Jonathan.
Jonathan, we have a raised hand. Alberto Soto's hand is up.
Okay, great. Alberto, go ahead, please.
Alberto Soto speaking. Good morning, everyone. By chance, I have a large bandwidth right now. In general, I have 16 megabytes per second. I didn't have time to read all the technical requirements of this tool. I don't know if it will work okay with 16 MBS. Am I right?
So the bandwidth requirement shouldn't be any different than it is for using video over Zoom, because that's all you're doing. It's not a internet. It shouldn't change your internet traffic at all, because it's all local to your computer, that it's changing the camera feed that Zoom is using. And so the bandwidth is only affected by how many cameras you're trying to bring down to your machine. So you shouldn't need more, you should not need more internet bandwidth to use this functionality. Does that make sense?
Alberto Soto speaking. Yes, Jonathan, thank you very much.
Okay.
And Jonathan, another hand is from Gopal Tadepalli.
Gopal, please go ahead.
Good evening from India. Thank you very much. It's a very interesting package with the horseshoe icon as the...
Your voice is very faint.
Is that so? Let me just see what can be done, but that's just about it.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much for the nice package with the horseshoe icon as the installed icon. It works and it adjusts to the specifications of my laptop. Is it unlimited downloads? Can I download any number of times on any machines? More importantly, can I pass it on to my students? They will do a much better job. Next 1 week, we can get a manual written.
Yeah, yes. And there's lots of tutorial videos on YouTube as well.
Yes. So if it's unlimited
so you know,
downloads and can be passed on, that's fine. Thank you so much.
Yes, it's not open source, but it's free. It's free, so anybody can download it and download it on as many machines as they want to for free.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So Jonathan, this is Alfredo. I have another question for you. I managed to get the split cam preview with using my webcam, and at the same time I'm in the Zoom room. Now, how can I put those two together.
So what you need to do is inside of Zoom, where you turn your camera on and off,
Okay.
down at the bottom of the screen, next to the camera is a little up arrow.
Right.
And when you click that, you should see split cam listed as one of the cameras.
I got it. Let's see what happens. Oh,
So now I'm looking at you again, so that's a good sign.
Yeah.
So now choose a scene that has something in it.
In split cam.
Yes. Just change scenes in split cam now and see what happens. Or add text or...
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can. Okay, so I have a Google open, the browser as a web page. So that's
Okay.
another layer.
And so did you switch to that scene? You just click on the scene on the left-hand side to switch between your scenes. Or you can do Control-1, Control-2, Control-3, and use your keyboard to switch between them.
Well, the thing is that in the media layers, I only see the web page and I click on it, but nothing actually happens. And I still see my webcam as the first layer. So
yeah, so you don't need to have your webcam in every layer. You can just create a new layer by hitting, underneath the scenes. Under the scenes, you can create a new scene.
Okay.
And then when you create a new scene, then you go to the second column, and you'll see at the top is your list of layers, and there's a plus there that allows you to add a new layer. So then click that plus, and then choose the window that has Google open in it.
Okay, let's see if I can make it happen. Okay, go on with other people. I'll keep trying.
No problem. I have to see if I can find the...
Actually, it's Marita, Jonathan. I don't see how you pick the layers.
Okay, let me do a share again to show that Sebastian was obviously right that I was like zipping through this too quickly, so I apologize. So I'm going to share my screen. Oh, Yasim, can you enable me to share the screen?
Jonathan, you should be able to share your screen. You still have those rights?
Yeah, I'm
oh, you have.
But he needs to stream it, share with his new laptop, with a Macintosh, not with a PC.
Yeah,
okay,
that's...
If I follow well.
1 second, please. Let me give you co-host rights for your other account as well. Okay.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Sure.
All right. Oh, I'll zoom to share my screen. Yes. Sorry. All right, and now I've just, am I still on anywhere?
Yes, you are. I can see
are.
I think it knocked me out when I gave it permission. So just give me a second to come back in as, well, maybe I can just do it here, right? I think it tried to log me out, unfortunately, when I was trying to be in as two different people. It didn't like that, so I'm going to share again. So Marita, over on the first column are my scenes.
I see that.
And then
yeah.
the second column, it says media layers.
Okay, yeah, I see that.
And then right to the right of that is a plus sign. Do you see that? Do you see my mouse?
Oh, it's tiny. Okay.
Yeah, so when I click that, I see a list of things that I'm going to do. So if I wanted to add text, I can add
Okay.
text in there, and I can edit the text.
Trouble was on my screen, that plus sign is barely visible. So, okay.
All right.
I see it now. Thank you.
Yep. Let me stop my share so that I can see people's.
So now that we're not looking at your screen with all that nice stuff on it already, Jonathan, how do I get that on my screen? I don't, now it's gone, right? Because you changed it.
How do you get?
Yeah, how do I get that up there?
So the idea is you're changing, what you're doing with SplitCam is changing what's in your video feed.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? And so when you create a scene by adding text or adding a picture or sharing a screen, etc., you create a scene and you select that scene, that is now what we'll see over the camera. So in my case, if I choose, this scene, it's got me and it's got a PowerPoint in it, for example. Am I answering your question?
Yeah, no, I see that. And I've got a PowerPoint open in the background, but I don't see any way to connect the two.
So when you go, so in SplitCam, you're going to click the plus next to media layers.
Okay. Yeah, I've got the split cam video driver open, but that's it. I don't know what else.
Well, you want to have the SplitCam software open in front of you, right? That's where you see these scenes and the media layers.
Okay, that I don't have that open. Sorry.
That's all right. So open that software. So it's this software right here, Marita, that I'm talking about.
Thank you, Jonathan. I see it. Okay.
Okay. And so along the left-hand side are your scenes.
Yep.
And then whenever you choose a scene, the second column shows you what layers you have in that scene.
I see it. Okay.
And then if in Zoom you've selected the SplitCam video driver as your camera, then as you make changes here, they'll actually show up in your camera feed over in Zoom.
Right. That's going to require a little practice, but now it makes a little more sense.
Sure. It definitely will. So I'm going to stop the share in case anybody else wants to try, and then I can see their video bigger. Has anybody tried this yet? Do you want to? Can I look at your camera feed?
Jonathan, if you look at mine, for some reason I can't get my layer to appear within Zoom. So let me show. This is me, right? You can see.
Okay,
me.
so now you doing a virtual background in Zoom, right?
Right. So I choose now from the Zoom. I'm choosing the split cam virtual camera.
Right.
And so now you don't see me. Now you see my background, my virtual background, but you don't see me.
You might need to turn that off. That may be okay. Zoom overriding it.
Okay, so let me turn it off.
Turn off the virtual background.
Yeah. Okay. See if it's off. No, it's not off. Settings. I'll keep trying and I'll share my screen in a while. Okay.
Yeah. So you don't need to share your screen if you have the I mean, you can share your screen to show me what you're doing if it's not working, but you don't need to share your screen to do this. Everything I showed you, I did without sharing the screen.
Yeah, I know, and I more or less figured it out, but I can't get that layer to pop up within Zoom. Like, for example, I'm trying to get a Google browser's layer to appear, and let me see if I turn off. Okay, so let me go back. Can't get my background to disappear.
Joanna, you don't need to click go live. I think that's what caused you to get the no active stream message. There you go.
Oh, I got it. Got it. Yep. 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 Now
So
I got it.
that can be your PowerPoints. That can be a website. It could be Google Slides. It can be whatever you want it to be that you're sharing there. And then if you want to, you can add another layer on top of that. That is your video camera, for example.
Let me try something else here. See if I can get another file. Let's see. It's gonna be an image. No, it's this new layer. Get rid of this one. I'm gonna add a new layer, and this is going to be another image. And I'm gonna get the image from my pictures. Let's see what happens. Okay. Now, if I'm in, if I want to, let me see if it's this one. Oh, it's this one. So how do I'm trying to switch between, I have a image, I have two images, and I have my webcam, and I have a web page.
Okay.
So how do I
now
switch?
You click between the thumbnails. So you click on scene 1, scene 2, scene 3 like that.
Okay.
Over on the left-hand side.
I'm doing something wrong here. I'll try to figure it out.
It looks like you're succeeding there. So right now we're just looking at your scene that has just the Google on it.
Yeah, yeah, I know. I'm trying to figure out how to switch to the next one. Ah, there it goes. I saw it.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm getting it. For some reason, it's taking a little bit to refresh.
Oh, okay.
But I'm getting it. Yeah.
The first time you go through it.
Yeah.
Suzanne said that you have two scenes now, a presentation, your camera, and how can I combine those two? So the way that you combine them is to create another scene in which you have both your presentation and your camera as a layer. Does that make sense, Suzanne? So for example, that's what I'm doing here. I've added my PowerPoint as the bottom layer and my web camera as the top layer. Does that make sense?
I'm afraid I don't understand how to make those layers though.
Okay, let me share my screen again, and I'll go through that. So I have to just get back into Zoom here. So I'm going to share my screen and share split cam. All right, so can everyone see my split cam screen now?
Yes.
So this, if you see here, my scene 1 is just my camera, right? So I've clicked on scene 1, which is the first column right here. And then you can see over here under media layers, the layers that I have in that scene. If I want to add something else, I can say, for example, I want to share a window. And then I'll be asked with a list of windows, which window I want to share. And if I share the PowerPoint slideshow, I now have the PowerPoint sitting on top of my web camera. So right now it's taking up the whole screen. But if I go down to one of the corners, I can resize it and I can move it around on the screen. And so that's how I'm able to combine the presentation and the camera into the same scene. So I could, if I hit the plus key again in the second column, I can say that I want to add an image. And then let's say I want to add the ICANN logo as a PNG. I now have this ping on there as well. And because it's the top layer, I can actually put it on top of the slides. There's no reason to do that, but you see how the layers work. So whatever's on top in column 2 is going to be on top in your scene. So I might have a situation where I'm running a conference and I want this logo to be showing in all my scenes. And so I would have that up there on the top, and then no matter what else I had, it was always showing. But I can just combine as many things as I want to into this scene. So if
So Jonathan, I'm sorry to interrupt you for a second, but I don't have the share window option on the media layers.
Are you sure?
Yep. I don't have the browser option either. So that I have a PowerPoint open, I have a image file, and I have a text file, and I don't have those options. I do have the other ones.
I wonder if that's a difference with the. Oh yeah, I see. It's not here.
It only says shares. What's the?
Oh, so here's what you got to do. I just opened it. If you do share screen,
okay,
inside of that, you'll see a choice between your entire screen or the application window, or an application window.
Okay, yeah, I see that. But
that'll allow you to then just share a window.
Ah, okay, yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I see it now. Okay, thanks.
Jonathan, it's Marita. So when I click the media layers, it doesn't give me things like PowerPoint presentation. How do you get that in there?
So it's PowerPoint isn't natively one of the layers. So what you would do is run PowerPoint.
Okay, I've got it running.
And so and are you running your slides?
Well, they're open. I don't know how to get them into the media layers.
So let me show you something else then too. I'm going to stop share, and I'm going to stop my PowerPoint. If I share screen in Zoom here and choose PowerPoint for my share, right? Can you see my PowerPoints now, Marita?
Yeah.
Okay. So what you'll see is that under slideshow, I mean, normally you're looking at them like this, but under slideshow, there's something that says set up slideshow.
Sure.
Right there.
Oh,
and if you choose that, then, and you choose this radio button here under show type, browsed by an individual, that will allow you to show your presentation in a window instead of taking up your whole screen.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So once I've done that, now when I click present down here at the bottom, you'll see that it's just a window that's showing, so that if I come back out to Zoom, I'm going to stop my share and share my desktop. Let's see how this works. Sometimes this leads to like infinity cameras. But you can see on my desktop here that PowerPoint right here is just in a window. It's not taking up the entire screen, which is the best way to do a share as part of Zoom or split cam. So when it's just a window like this, then I can go into my scene here. I'm going to delete this scene and just create a new one. So if I create this scene 6 and I add a layer, I'm going to say share window, and then PowerPoint slideshow is one of my windows, and I add it, and now that should be what's coming over my my camera feed. Is just that window, and it didn't have to take over my whole screen to do it. Did that make sense?
Sort of. I'll have to practice it because I haven't actually got PowerPoint, but I'll see, you know.
But the same thing applies. If you can run your presentation in a window, which you can do in Keynote or Google Slides, then you would just share that window from SplitCam or from Zoom.
Okay.
It works the same way in Zoom.
I'm trying it.
No problem. That's what we're here for. Is for people to try it. Let me see if I can see if there's something else happening in the chat.
Jonathan, hi, this is Hanan Khatib. Could you please show me again the PowerPoint? How did you share the window? Because I opened the PowerPoint, I could not read the option where
And
under which.
it took over the whole screen. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to stop sharing my desktop. I'm going to share. I'm going to share PowerPoint in Zoom. So this is the window that has PowerPoint in it that I'm sharing. If I end the presentation by hitting escape, so that's your normal interface for PowerPoint, right? If you go to, sorry?
How did you share it? How you showed screen and options with the 2 buttons?
Right. So if you go to slideshow, do you see across the top here an option for slideshow?
Yeah. Okay.
And then I go to setup slideshow right here.
Setup.
See that? And then under show type, you have presented by speakers, full screen, or browse by individual, which is just in a window.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
If you choose that, then when you choose to run your slides, they'll run just in a little window.
Yeah, yes. Okay, thank you. I'm running the split cam, but I don't know how to share my screen with you. I see all the options, and I added the media player and some screens, let's say, but I don't know how to share it with, or how to share it with you.
Yes. So while SplitCam is running, it's pretending to be one of your cameras. It's pretending to be a camera. So if you go into Zoom and you see where the button is to start and stop video.
Okay.
There's an arrow next to it.
Yes.
If you click that arrow, one of the choices of cameras is SplitCam video driver.
Yes, that's right. Yes. Okay.
So if you choose that as your camera in Zoom, then what we will see come across in Zoom is whatever scene you've selected in SplitCam.
Yes. Okay. Let's see. How does it? Let me see.
Dr. Jonathan, this is Gopal here. Suppose the organizer of the Zoom meeting does not allow share screen, and I wish to share screen after participating. Does my choice override the organizer's choice?
It doesn't override the organizer's choice, but you don't need to share your screen to do this. Remember, what you're doing is changing your video feed. So they have to allow you to have your camera on, If they don't allow you to have your camera or share your screen, then none of this will work. But then you're not giving a presentation anyway, right? So, so if you can either share the preview window of Split Cam if you're using software that doesn't support virtual cameras, or you're choosing Split Cam as your camera in Zoom, and then instead of people just seeing your webcam feed over Zoom, they're seeing what you're doing in Split Cam instead. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
So you don't, they don't need to allow you to share your screen. Like right now, we're looking at Olivier's camera feed and Marita's camera feeds, and you can see that they have video and pictures and things like that in their camera feeds. So that's what you're doing. They're not sharing their screen; they're just affecting the video feed.
And this go live means what? It goes on to the Zoom or anything?
No, you don't need to hit. You don't ever need to hit go live to do this.
Oh, okay.
Just create scenes, and then you go over in Zoom, and you'll see that those scenes are showing up as your camera feed. If you choose Split Cam Virtual Video Driver as your camera.
Right. VGA webcam driver properties. All right, fine. I understand that. Thanks. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. So the software, one of the features of the software is to pretend to be a web camera. I mean, that's just one of its features, is to pretend to be a webcam, and then it just allows you to have a more sophisticated control over what's going over your camera feed. It has other features as well, which allow you to do streaming directly to streaming services like YouTube or Facebook or LinkedIn. And that's what the Go Live button is for. So for these purposes, you don't need any of that. There's also the ability to record a video from this, so that if you want to create a sequence of scenes and create a presentation, you can hit record and it'll record it to video as you give the presentation in Split Cam, and then you can distribute the video as well. So there's lots of other things to explore in Split Cam, but for this purpose, all you need to do is just use the software, and it will automatically make whatever you're doing available as a webcam. Does that make sense?
Jonathan, it's Marita.
Yes,
We're running out of time here. I just have one more question.
Okay.
I managed to get something up there for scene 2, but for scene 3, it didn't give me any choice. It didn't give me any choices. Like, it couldn't add another media feed there. I just can't. Scene is empty, it says, and I can't add any media layers. Wherever that little plus sign for media layers was, it is gone.
That's strange. What are you on, Windows or Mac?
Yeah, Windows.
Do you want, I don't know if we can keep going or not, but Yesim, can you give Marita ability to share her screen? Yesim? That's what I was figuring we would do. We would trade off sharing screens, and then you'd be able to show me what you were doing.
Well, maybe we'll have a version 2 of this, because
yeah, I'm happy.
like
I'm happy to have a version 2 of it for sure.
Yeah, it'd be very cool if you knew how to use it. It would be very useful. I agree.
Yeah. Yesim, I'm not hearing you anymore. Are you?
Oh, sorry, Jonathan. The door just rang. I had to step away. Apologies for that.
No problem.
May I help? What did I miss?
Well, is it possible to give Marita permission to share her screen?
Yes. Just 1 second, please. I'll give her co-host rights. Okay.
Don't go crazy with those co-host rights, Marita.
All right, I'll try not to.
Okay, so now if you go into Zoom and do share screen and then choose split cam as the screen you want to share.
Yeah. Okay, I got it. Share screen.
And do you have split cam running on your desktop, or is it minimized?
It's running.
'Cause for some reason,
Let's not waste everyone's time. I mean, this requires some practice, and I'll work on it. Yeah.
Okay.
It's cool.
Okay. But this is what we were planning to do, was to let people share their screens. Olivia, you have a question in the meantime?
Yes, thanks very much, Jonathan. Olivia Catanova speaking. Just a question on the sharing of things. So when you share your screen on Zoom and you share a video, you can click a little box which says share sound too. But
yes.
If you actually do it via this software and you play a video, will that play the sound as well, or will it not play the sound?
So it won't by default, but you can add system sound to your to your scene. One of your options for what you can add to your scene is system sound. But then you will also want to change your microphone in Zoom in addition to your camera. So you'll notice that next to your microphone mute and unmute, you also have a little arrow that lets you choose your microphone. And split cam, I think it's called split cam audio mixer, is one of your available microphones, and you'll want to make that the microphone for Zoom, and then that will all work. Does that make sense?
Okay, excellent. Yeah, that makes sense. That's great. Thank you.
Okay, so Marita, you're not showing your second column right now. In the middle, next to the word scene 2, you see a little white arrow?
That's right.
So
Scene
click
2,
on
I
that.
see it. Yes.
And so now you see your media layers. So if you now go up to the top, there's that plus.
Oh, right. Okay. Yes, but I can't do it for scene 3. That's how I got the scene 2, or like a word thing. So, but I am trying to repeat that on scene 3, and it won't do anything. It says audio mixer. So
And when you click the plus sign on media layers, it doesn't do anything?
but that media layers is for scene 2, right?
No, it's not. So don't keep hitting that white arrow, because that's what's making this disappear. So click the white arrow. Okay. So now go all the way up to the plus. If you click plus there, now you're adding things to scene 3.
Oh, I see. I thought you were changing scene 2.
Each scene is separate.
So each scene has its own set of media layers. So when you click on the scene first, and then you can change the layers for that scene.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, no problem.
So Jonathan, it's Olivier. So one is able to therefore go, let's say you just go one view. So you said 3 scenes. One scene is just you talking to the camera. Second scene is a PowerPoint presentation. The third scene is a mix between the PowerPoint presentation and you speaking to the camera. And I guess you can then flip between one scene and another seamlessly while you're talking.
That's right. You can either click on you can click on the scene, or you can do Control 1, Control 2, Control 3 like that.
Excellent.
A lot of people are something that's become very popular in streaming circles. That streaming, I think, had its origins in gaming, and so a lot of this software got created initially for games. And it's now becoming popular for everyone because everybody is streaming, right? Church services and teachers and things like that. And so one of the pieces of hardware that a lot of people are using is something called a Stream Deck that looks like this. And it's basically like a little box that you can assign macros to. So you could, for example, send the control 1 or the control 2 or the control 3 to SplitCam in order to make those changes happen from like a little hardware switcher on your desk if you don't want to do the hotkeys on your keyboard. So there's lots of different options for how you manage your scenes once you have them created. I guess are we over time? Are we okay on time, Yasim? Is this 90 or 60?
It was a 60-minute call, Jonathan, and I've already asked for 10 minutes extension, which is over as well. I was just trying to actually let you know.
All right, no problem. So I will let this end then. I'm happy to take questions and email or Skype or whatever as you're playing with this, because I really excited about you all using this technology in your presentations. So please feel free to ask questions, and you'll see on the SplitCam page the Skype address for the SplitCam folks, and they're very responsive. So if you're having problems, you can reach out to them directly, or if you email me a problem, I'll forward it on to them as well. I told them that I was going to be bringing a bunch of people up online on this, so they should be prepared.
So we better get up to speed, right? Otherwise, they're going to be after you.
Yeah, exactly.
Jonathan, I have a question. How can I download it to my mobile? Because I was trying to download it to my mobile. I couldn't. My is iPhone. But now I'm using.
There's no version of SplitCam at this time for mobile devices.
Okay.
Now, Manycam, which is the commercial software that I pointed you to at the beginning, does have a mobile version as well.
Okay.
But SplitCam does not at this point.
Okay, thank you very much for the information. It is really nice. I liked it.
All right, great.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Before we go, all right, then excellent. I guess. Excellent, thank you. I guess Yasim wants to run her survey, so I'll let her. I'll pass the microphone back to Yasim.
Okay, thanks so much, Jonathan. So as you know, we have the survey questions as usual. So let's start with the first question. How was the timing of the webinar, which is 1300 UTC? Is it too early, just right, or too late? Not sure, by the way, if anyone is able to see the questions, but I'm not receiving any responses yet.
Give us time.
Oh,
You've got to fill them all in before.
Yeah.
You know, you've got to fill them all in before we hit submit, remember? Otherwise it all goes to hell in a handbasket again.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
If you want to read through all the questions, then you'll see something. Sure.
Second question is, how is the technology used for webinar? Very good, good, sufficient, bad, or very bad? And moving on to our third question, did the speaker demonstrate mastery of the topic? Extremely strong, strong, sufficient, weak, or extremely weak?
Be nice.
And our fourth,
too late, I'm hit submit.
Our fourth question is, are you satisfied with the webinar? Extremely satisfied, satisfied, moderately satisfied, lightly satisfied, or not satisfied at all? Quickly moving on to the fifth one. What region do you live in the moment? Is it Africa? Is it Asia, Australia, and the Pacific Islands? Is it Europe? Is it Latin America and the Caribbean islands? Or is it North America? And here is our last question. How many years of experience do you have in the ICANN community? Less than 1, 1 to 3, 3 to 5, 5 to 10, or is it more than 10 years? Okay, so I'm seeing 10 people have already voted. Thank you all very much for the results, and I think I can just hand the floor back to you, Jonathan, to say the final words.
Oh, thanks. Final words. No. Thanks everyone for participating. I know it's a lot to absorb all at once, and Sebastian was probably right that I went through it too quickly at the beginning, the overview of what was possible. So I hope that you found your way there and just play around with it and get used to it, and ask me any questions if you have them as you're going along. So thanks a lot for trying something new.
Thank you,
Gracias.
Jonathan.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Thank you all. This meeting is now adjourned. Have a great rest of the day. Bye-bye.